Paradise, Louisiana, with Gary Risponi and Don Dubuque. Paradise, Louisiana would also like to thank these sponsors.
Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change, Cracker Barrel Convenience Stores. We have more than you expect. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana, Farm Bureau Insurance, Louisiana Fish Fry Products, Demco, First South Farm Credit, Area Wholesale Tire Company, with tire programs for tire dealers.
Welcome to Steel Coal, Paradise, Louisiana. I'm Gary Risponi.
I'm Don Dubuque, and hopefully that cold will move on and we'll get into some little better weather. We got a little bit of a taste of it this past week. It kind of warmed up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe you say in the 50s. But the weatherman up there where I was in North Louisiana is a lion dog. I'm going to tell you that right now. Hope I don't hurt no feelings.
What were you doing up there?
Well, let me tell you what. Chemin-Au-Haut, I've learned how to say that. You know, Chemin is a name that we well know, but Chemin-Au-Haut, here's an Indian name, somebody told me it's a French name. It's a state park. I think it's the second oldest state park in the state. And it's a beautiful park, beautiful cabins. We did a great deal, but the main thing was they hosted, along with the Wildlife and Fisheries in the state parks, the Louisiana Hunting for Heroes. It's an organization that's only been in a couple of years. It started in Texas. We got soldiers that have been overseas and fighting for our country, and they're definitely heroes. They're in transition. Some of them might even go back into service, and some of them get back in civilian life. They fed them in a rabbit hunt. They've done deer hunts. They've done fishing trips, and so many organizations now, and rightfully so. There's a lot of people, volunteers. We got the Wounded Warriors, the Wounded Warrior Heroes. We got Service for Service that we're involved in. Wheeling Sportsmen, National Wild Turkey Federation doing things. Every time you look around, people are doing things. And these guys, these veterans, really enjoyed it. Rabbit hunt and a new part of the park. But Don, you know when they do these things, there's so many volunteers. Robert Bourne was there, Wildlife and Fisheries, and talked to him Friday night. And we had Jimmy Anthony, which we talked to him about their involvement, you know, with the Wildlife and Fisheries in these programs right now, because it's all part of education and getting more people in the outdoors, selling more licenses, so it fits in, you know. We had somebody from the state parks. So it was, I guess I got invited by Donnie Vokas. I said his name wrong, you know, all weekend. I finally got to say it right. Donnie and his crew put these things together, that organization. And they brought in people to cook. And I got to say, you know, I know fish fry and I know fish. But Roger Herring and him and his wife, Mary Lou, they was, I believe, in charge of food. The first night they had barbecued chicken and so many cakes and cookies and potatoes and whatever they cooked for them soldiers. It was unbelievable. The second night, that fried fish was just unbelievable. But I don't want to leave out. We might not have much time to show it. But have you ever heard of the Dutch Oven Society? They got a Louisiana Dutch Oven Society, but the Bayou Bartholomew, they do something every week. They were over there at the state park, right there on the banks of the Bayou Bartholomew. I didn't know there had many things you could cook with a Dutch oven. So
sounds like fun.
It was a great day. We had guys out there bringing their dogs. One of them was Wayne Martin. He looked like Matt Dillon on that horse. And he had another horse over there with Lane on there. I can't remember Lane's name, but it was just a whole weekend. We're gonna let Ezra put it together. It was just so much rabbit hunting. Thanks to Gary Krause on the camera, and our good buddy from the Bayou State Rabbit Hunters Federation, Tommy Boudreau. He worked camera for us, and he got there and gave all these guys hats, and got a lot of beagle clubs in that area of the state that are joining. And by the way, they pass over 1,200 people, members now. So that's what I did, John. And you?
Well, while you were having fun up there doing that, I was suffering miserably with Dudley Vanderboer and Jack Payne. Made a trip, a really hard, cold day down in Delacroix. Redfishing was on. It was a great way to catch the redfish, but we paid the price. We'll show you that. Also, we've got Larry Reynolds coming in, waterfowl study leader for Louisiana, and I know a lot of people are complaining about the duck season and they're wondering, we were so optimistic. What the heck happened? Well, we're going to try to find out that from Larry. We also have another guest coming in, a guy you've seen on this program a lot, Trascher from Louisiana CCA, kind of update us on what the Coastal Conservation Association's been doing lately. And we got some news to tell you about. Another whooping crane shooting has taken place. Maybe you can help Wildlife and Fisheries solve that case. We also have some news, too, about the red snapper in the Gulf of Mexico, some action from the Gulf Fisheries Management Council, some action that was taken there that is finally some good news.
Yes, a lot of words they said in a lot of short time, Don. Thank you very much. And stay tuned. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
When you're ready to really enjoy life at a slower pace, become a landowner. First South Farm Credit specializes in financing and refinancing land, but not just for farmers. They offer loans to purchase timberland, hunting and fishing, or recreational property. Their experience in land, timber, and loans set them apart from standard lending institutions. Contact a First South Farm Credit loan officer for more information. First South Farm Credit, a specialized rural land investment lender helping you realize your dream.
Hey guys, John here. I want to tell you about two new exciting products on the market from Louisiana Fish Fry Products, #1 selling fry and batter in the country. First is a Cajun fry. It's spicy. It has a great blend of cornmeal and corn flour, the right texture, the right flavor, and good heat. The other is a beer batter. Wonderful on shrimp, onion rings, mushrooms, and any white fish. Two great products available today. Go out and get them from Louisiana Fish Fry Products. Enjoy them.
Eric and Mike, it's that time of the year again for the Children's Hospital Bass Classic.
When I was asked to be the signature sponsor in this 12th season of the event for the Children's Charities Bass Tournament, I was proud to be there to help thousands of children in Louisiana.
I've been involved in this tournament for several years, and I can assure you it's the largest and the best organized tournament in the state. We've got a grand prize of $12,500. But the real winner of this tournament are the children themselves. Children's Hospital treats children throughout the state with clinics in Baton Rouge and Lafayette. And the wonderful thing is, no child is turned away regardless of their ability to pay.
Louisiana fishermen, come out and support the Children's Hospital Bass Classic March the 1st.
It doesn't get any better than this.
These engines run for thousands of hours to prove.
We did. With 20% more cleaning agents than before, Shell nitrogen-enriched gasoline.
Oh, the gasoline protects your engine better!
Awkward. Try Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines.
No other gasoline protects your engine better.
Visit Cracker Barrel convenience stores before heading fishing or hunting. We have more than you expect.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. And Gary, this has been a long, hard, cold winter. And when this season is looked back upon, I think that's what people are going to remember about fishing in cold weather. And one of the great spots where you can usually catch fish during cold weather is Delacroix. It just happens to be laid out and positioned geographically to where when the weather gets very, very cold and those water temperatures drop, you can usually catch some fish there. We're scheduled to go with our friend Deadly Dudley. Really not much was happening around the Pontchartrain, Lake Catherine, Wrigley's area.
I don't know if you want to be on there with a winter cold as it is, too.
Ooh, well, it was tough, but we...
You know, you're talking about Delacroix. Delacroix's got so many variations in depth and structure, you know, from grass to oyster reef. So, you know, I guess that's the reason.
And a mix in salinities. It's got the diversion in there. So a lot of times you got everything from pure fresh water to brackish to highly salt water when the summertime comes. But the Oak River is the name of the game when it gets really cold. It's a deep channel that runs pretty much through Delacroix. It had been on. Jack Payne said, look, I was there the other day. On just a couple days before, he limited out. They caught 100 speckled trout. Just shows you when the water temperatures vary and it goes up for a short period of time, the trout come back on. But until that time, you're pretty much confined to catching redfish, which is what we did. Simple fishing. We used some plastics on the bottom, fish very slowly, barely moving them. Sometimes we tip it with shrimp, and sometimes we just take a jig head and put a piece of dead shrimp on it, and that always pays off down there. And picked up, I would say we probably caught very close to the limit. We did all catch and release on the redfish, but for 3 guys out there in a short period of time under some extremely cold conditions, we made the best of it. Let's take you down there now. Delacroix, Sweetwater Marina, Captain Jack Payne, Captain Deadly Dudley, fishing out of Sweetwater Marina and Oak River. Temperature hanging right around freezing. North wind at 15 to 20, chance of sleet. You can't catch fish in those conditions, can you? Whew, you can in Delacroix. Oh boy.
Sweetwater red, Delacroix.
You gotta be tougher than the fish to make it out here.
Anybody want to take this fish off? Got warm hands? I guess not.
Pretty, cold, Delacroix redfish. Look at the leeches on them. They're not doing nothing but trying to stay alive, laying on the bottom looking for something to eat.
Speckled trout. Any chance at all when it's like this?
Very slim, slim to none. Like yesterday, you know, Fish Tuesday, we had 100 beautiful trout, 20 reds. Figured yesterday we could get out there before the water temperature dropped. Probably about Saturday afternoon, the water warmed back up good in the mid-50s, and action will be good. Sunday should be even better.
How many fish you think are stacked up in there?
More fish than we got goosebumps on our arms and legs.
Then I gotta warm my hands.
Are you cold? Oh, baby.
Oh, there we go. A double.
I'm tired of being an Eskimo in South Louisiana. It's hard.
Let's go. All right, we know warmer days and warmer air is coming, and that's when the speckled trout will turn on. But for now, it's pretty much redfish, but all you want.
Ask me about my Tempur-Pedic.
Ask me how fast I fall asleep.
Why not talk to someone who's sleeping on the most highly recommended bed in America?
Ask me about staying asleep.
Tempur-Pedic owners are more satisfied than owners of any traditional mattress brand.
Ask me how it feels after 10 years.
Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America.
Ask about Tempur-Pedic at Olin's, where you know you always get the guaranteed low price. Olin's is the only store in Baton Rouge and Lafayette with the full line of Tempur-Pedics.
We build tires, but not tires like anybody else. We build Cooper tires for people, not just cars. People who are chauffeurs and shuttle pilots, heavy haulers and heavy hitters. More than what your Cooper tires can do, it's about what you can do with your Cooper tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
Of all the tools in your house, this could easily be the most dangerous, but it doesn't have to be. At Dimco, we can't stress this enough. Just keep it, and you, far away from power lines.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Welcome to Chemin-Au-Haut State Park. We're here for the Louisiana Hunters for the Heroes. Donnie Vocker. Voker. Yeah, Donnie, I got it wrong anyway.
Yeah, you got it wrong.
Donnie, okay, you the one to help them put this on. This is the what? The fifth, sixth hunt so far?
This is our sixth hunt. This is our first rabbit hunt. We've had some deer hunts and a duck hunt. And
tell us a little bit about Louisiana Hunters for the Heroes.
Louisiana Hunters for Heroes is a chapter of North American Hunters for Heroes, which right now we have chapters in Texas and Louisiana. Hoping to get chapters in all 50 states. But we just started in September, so we're working an uphill struggle right now. But we're doing pretty good.
Well, we're located 10 miles north of Bastrop, Louisiana, and Chemin-Au-Haut means high road in French. And it's because it was a migratory path for the Native Americans, and the French traders are the ones that named it. But this is the second oldest park in the state, and we're very, very happy to partner with Wildlife and Fisheries and honor our heroes like we're doing today.
Well, we purchased a little piece of property that borders a state park. It's only 238 acres, but it offers a good opportunity to partner with our partners at state parks, have special event hunts like this. We can't open it to the public, but we're going to do special hunts, and this is our first hunt actually, and we couldn't have a better hunt than to have the heroes of the United States here.
I'm Specialist Shane Carmouche. I'm from Lauranja, Louisiana. I served 8 years active duty and about a year and a half National Guard. Got 3 tours to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan.
Well, I'm a Sergeant First Class Stingline with the 819th Sapper Company, Arizona, Army National Guard, and I'm from Apache Junction, Arizona, and I served in RC South Afghanistan and was injured in combat.
Sergeant Roy Blake from Columbia, Louisiana. 1 tour in Afghanistan and 1 tour in Kuwait.
He done slipped them though. Look at them dogs' tails, how burning, bloody they are. Them briars eating them up, ain't they?
Specialist Kelly Yelton. I'm from Galax, Virginia, and I've been to Korea. I went to basic in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and now I'm stationed at Fort Polk, and I'm getting med-boarded out of the Army.
Sergeant First Class Philip Whitty. Originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana. Been in the Army 22 years. I work at the WT.
Sergeant First Class Roger Benton. Work at WTB, Fort Sam Houston, SOCOM liaison for the Wounded Warriors. I've been deployed to Afghanistan, Iraq, currently serving down there for my 4th year. I hail from Michigan, and now I call Texas home.
I'm Stephen Keller. I'm a sergeant, U.S. Army, from Colorado, but I'm currently stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Come on.
Better get out of them guns. Them rounds gonna come out of this path.
All right.
Appreciate the support from the bottom of my heart, and this is my first hunt with them, and I hope it ain't my last.
These organizations for Hunting for Heroes is really good for the soldiers. We get to, it's kind of like physical therapy. We get to go do everything that from when we was hurt, now recovering, so we can go out and do everything again. It's really good. I've never done archery before, and now I get to go shoot competitions in archery. And this is my first hunt, and I hope I get to go on a lot more.
My first hunt that I signed up for since I've been back, and folks brought us down here, fed us, got us out here hunting, and really appreciate it. And it's been a real fun day. Something real nice for soldiers coming back who are injured to come out here and feel the excitement of being out in the wilderness and beautiful Louisiana. First time here, and it's nothing like Arizona.
Watching me coming toward the road. I can hear the horse. Come on, get him, buddy.
My name is Wendy Chasson. I served overseas in Kuwait, Operation Enduring Freedom. It means the world. Even if I don't get to shoot anything, just being out in the outdoors, actually a rifle, you know, it's just something. It's a part of who you are. You know, it's fun.
He's coming towards you.
Hold him up! Yeah.
Nice,
dude.
I shot him right there. He was still alive. I thought the dog.
Oh, he's still alive?
No, he dead now.
Oh.
I shot him right here. He was still alive. I was gonna get to the dog.
My name is Jeff Lager. I'm stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana. I served in Iraq on a transition team. And I'll tell you, these hunts and things that these guys put on for us is really important to me. It helps break up the monotony of going to appointments and things like that. If they hadn't put something on like this, I'd probably still be at the house. I mean, these guys that come out here and support us really do so much for us and help us get out here. There's no way I would be able to go rabbit hunting if it hadn't been for an organization like the Louisiana Hunters for Hero. So thank you to them. We really appreciate it.
Jimmy, you're seeing more and more of wildlife fishers getting involved in educational stuff and being more in the Republic and more in recruitment. Tell us some of the things that y'all been doing the last few years and what y'all got in the future.
Well, you know, traditionally we've had a lot of youth hunts and we try to get women involved, especially with our BOW program, which is Beyond Outdoor Women. But we've also got a new program called the Hunter Heritage Program. And what that is we get seasoned hunters, just like you, Gary, signed up, and we teach those people how to take out people who need some learning about hunting. And you would take someone out, like on this Ben Lilly Conservation Area. We bought this area specifically to enhance that program, where you would take somebody out that doesn't know how to hunt and teach them how to hunt, and we're going to offer you a place to take them to. So it's called our Natural Heritage Hunter Program.
I see Secretary Baum, he really travels around. He's from North Louisiana. You see him in South Louisiana. I see next week they're going to be out around the Beulah Roads in that area. Sherburne is dedicating some more land to the public, so y'all never stop, and y'all need to be complimented. So we'll be back later to Paradise, Louisiana.
Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change has been keeping cars and trucks in Baton Rouge clean and running smooth for over 50 years. At Benny's, we feature professional car washing, complete detailing, high-tech waxing and buffing, interior cleaning, and tire shine. Benny's, one stop for car maintenance with complete oil and lube services and even state inspections at our express locations. Visit one of our 5 convenient locations, including our newest store on Greenwell Springs Road. And don't forget to stop by Be Quick Convenience Store and Fuel Stop. Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change. Drive in dirty, drive out clean.
Come to the family-owned and operated Cassius Casino in Port Allen today, where the Vegas-style video poker machines are ready for your entertainment. Cassius Casino is the finest, cleanest, classiest casino around. And Cassius 50-style diner is now serving seafood daily, along with your favorite home-cooked specials 24/7. Hey, Cassius is fun. Cassius is exciting. So come to the unsinkable Cassius Casino in Port Allen. Over the river 2 miles west of exit 151.
Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood. Because we're based in Louisiana, with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. The 2013-14 duck season has come and gone, and I would say left its mark. Some folks had great seasons, others not so great, and the guy that gets all the blame is here with us, waterfowl study leader for Louisiana, Larry Reynolds. Just kidding about you getting the blame, but you might have some answers for us.
No, you're absolutely right. It's amazing what I'm responsible for. Like a quarterback on a football team, I get credit that isn't warranted, and I definitely get blame that's not warranted. And this season had plenty of both, actually. There were folks that had some outstanding seasons, and there were folks that had very, very poor seasons. And my survey data throughout the season sort of supported both.
Yeah,
supported both.
You know, to be specific, you say some areas. What were some surprising areas that were good?
Surprising areas that were good. There were, I got a couple of good reports from Northwest Louisiana around Lock 4 and Lock 5 of the Red River. I don't know that it sustained itself throughout the entire season, but they had some good hunts up there. And there were some surprising reports from Southwest Louisiana of places that had just incredible hunting. I mean, limits every single day. But mixed in with that, areas that you normally get really good reports year after year were tough this year. And when you think about waterfowl, and this is probably the most difficult part of my job and the most difficult part of being a waterfowl hunter, is that waterfowl use the habitat on a very large scale. We're not talking about Louisiana. Louisiana is a fairly small, incredibly important, but fairly small part of the Mississippi Flyway, of the United States wetland complex, of the North American habitat base that support waterfowl. We all know that the waterfowl we shoot here typically aren't raised here. They're raised a long ways away, and they come a long distance. And so we had some issues this year up the Flyway that almost certainly influenced us. How they influence us is difficult to say because we don't do surveys everywhere up and down the Flyway the way we do in Louisiana.
What are these things that influence?
One of the things that influences is the habitat conditions on the breeding grounds. And this year, one of the reasons we were so optimistic was because we saw a 24% increase in the pond counts. Increases in pond counts almost always lead to increases in reproduction, a larger proportion of juveniles in the fall flight, and better hunting success. Really typical. Sure. But a lot of that water this year came very late in the season. The May breeding survey was delayed for almost 2 weeks because of all the rainfall up there. So now we're flying a survey and counting ponds right after a major rainfall event. That should be good news, right? Late nesters, a good late hatch effort. That sounds like good news. But the teal didn't show up the way they normally do. Blue-winged teal are late nesters. Blue-winged teal take advantage of that temporary water on the landscape. But they didn't show up. Very late, the lowest teal survey on record. And so what does that mean? Does that mean there was an effect of that late water delaying the migration? Second big thing, the upper Midwest had been in drought for 2 years. Terrible drought for 2 years, but this year it broke. When is wetland habitat the most productive? After it's been dry. We all know wetlands are dynamic. You keep a wetland dry, it's not worth anything for ducks. But if you keep a wetland wet for many years, it also loses its productivity. Well, those wetlands up the Flyway from us were dry for 2 years, and this year they got wet. So they are at their most productive, most useful stage. So we know there was better habitat north of us.
We're kind of asking you to give these answers with not all the pieces to the puzzle because a lot of information is still out there, particularly the hunter numbers on what the kill was.
Correct.
But all indications are pointing to, with the delayed migration, both on the teal and the big ducks, it looks like those people who hung in there and stuck it out, again, this is from reports in the field and also your surveys, showed the very last days of the season were very productive, and some people may have given up too early.
We had a better January survey than we've had in the last couple of years. It was higher than the 5-year average. It was still slightly below the long-term average. And I've talked to my colleagues in Arkansas and Mississippi. Mississippi had the highest midwinter on record. So Mississippi really benefited from all of this cold weather, disproportionately from some of the rest of us. What was really interesting about the Mississippi numbers is that it wasn't mallards. So we got all this cold weather, all this hard freeze, and of the 1.3 million ducks that Mississippi counted, over 800,000 of them were other ducks, were ducks that normally you would expect to see here on the coast of Louisiana. We don't have that midwinter survey yet. We don't have the harvest survey data yet. We don't have the banding data yet. And so yes, I'm sitting here speculating with pieces of information that certainly aren't going to tell the whole story.
So that means we need to take you back. We need to get you back here later when all those
Absolutely.
surveys are in, and we're glad to have you. And I was just telling you, so maybe we jumped the gun. Now, I wanted to ask you, you was talking about, you just mentioned it, are there surveys at the end of the year? Right now, where we was at in North Louisiana this weekend, how every little slough I seen got walls. Or I walked up in Chemin-Au-Haut State Park, they had the Bartholomew by even thought, every time I'd get to a spot, there was mallards out there, even in Paris, but I saw mallards. So right now, do y'all do surveys after the season to see if how many ducks are still here?
The answer to your question is no. We used to. We used to do February surveys. Aerial surveys are expensive. They're time-consuming and they're dangerous. And thus, we don't do them for recreation. We do them to collect information that's going to be used in processes. February aerial survey data information isn't used for anything except to satisfy some personal curiosity. And so they were discontinued a number of years ago. The October survey, no longer done. And in the future, as budgets get tighter, I have to work harder and harder to justify doing a survey in September, November, December, and January. January is the important survey. Every state in the flyway does a January survey. It's called the Coordinated Midwinter Waterfowl Inventory. And so that survey we know will be continued. The November data, very important to us. It's been important to us to show changes in chronology and migration.
I'm sure glad we have you coming back. And Don, you had him on the radio, but what I appreciate about you more than anything, Larry, is that you're not there to CYA. You're not just there to cover your butt. You do what you say is what you think, and I appreciate you for that. You take a lot of heat, but from us, we give you a lot of praise. So.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, the jury's still out, and we'll get Larry to come back at a later date when we have more information and find out more about this very strange but educational 2013-2014 season and how it might impact what we do next season. We'll be right back. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
We build tires, but not tires like anybody else. We build Cooper tires for people, not just cars. People who are chauffeurs and shuttle pilots, heavy haulers and heavy hitters. More than what your Cooper tires can do, it's about what you can do with your Cooper tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
These engines run for thousands of hours to prove we did. With 20% more cleaning agents than before, Shell nitrogen-enriched gasoline.
Gasoline protects your engine better!
Awkward. Try Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines.
No other gasoline protects your engine better.
Visit Cracker Barrel convenience stores before heading fishing or hunting. We have more than you expect.
Come to the family-owned and operated Cassius Casino in Port Allen today, where the Vegas-style video poker machines are ready for your entertainment. Cassius Casino is the finest, cleanest, classiest casino around. And Cassius 50-style diner is now serving seafood daily, along with your favorite home-cooked specials 24/7. Hey, Cassius is fun. Cassius is exciting. So come to the unsinkable Cassius Casino in Port Allen. Over the river 2 miles west of exit 151.
I can't believe y'all brought me out in the blind and we ain't got no food. Man, I'm hungry.
Don't worry, Gary. This will be over quick.
Thanks to our sponsor, Raising Cane's and Todd Grays, a real Louisiana sportsman and conservationist, with true aim and sure shot, giving back to Louisiana.
Good job, girl. That's a better retrieve than any duck. Cane's, the official chicken of Louisiana outdoors.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana, and yet another familiar face on the show, Rad Trascher from Louisiana Coastal Conservation Association. Rad, glad to have you here.
Thank you. You know, it's that time of year again.
Is it?
It's
already?
Yes, it's getting close. You know, look, we're about to start the 20th year of Star. Early bird drawings will start March 1st, so it's time to get in. That is one of the reasons I'm here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. And y'all had another productive convention down in New Orleans.
We did. We had our annual convention down at the Hilton at Riverside in New Orleans. A handful of big awards that we give out annually. One, the Conservationist of the Year, that went to Assistant Secretary Randy Paulsina. The Volunteer of the Year went to our Government Relations Chairman and a good friend of mine, Capt, who also sits on the Gulf Council. And I'll tell you, he is trying to move mountains on federal fisheries regulations.
And he's been doing some pretty good news coming out from him right now at the Gulf Council.
He is helped. That is for sure. Joe writes about it in Sunday's paper. It's a great article. We're moving forward. It's baby steps. But we also inducted a handful of people into the Hall of Fame, one being Charlie Willis. If you've ever been to a CCA banquet, he is the guy that stands next to me shoulder to shoulder and auctions off everything. He did our first auction over 30-something years ago and is still doing them today. The second person is Andy LeBlanc, a great volunteer from Metairie. Been with us forever and ever and ever. Once again, you go to a banquet, you see merchandise on the table, chances are Andy touched it in some way or another. And then lastly, the couple of the year, Pierre and Susan Villery. I could go on for hours about how much those two have done for us in the organization. Susie actually was basically the first Star chairman when it first started. She was just a volunteer at the time, but she led us down a great path that we're now celebrating 20 years later.
Yeah, well, I know Andy a lot better than everybody sees Charlie. You know, if you go to he's the auction and he's on the stage. But Andy's always the same place. You know, anything we had in New Orleans or the seminars, I don't know where they are, there's Andy. And he's always around the food, too. That's why I know him. He probably had a lot to do with it.
He's in the food brokerage business. I'll give him more of an excuse than you. But look, you know, we induct these folks into the Hall of Fame. We're now celebrating, 34 years of CCA Louisiana. And we're just getting around to actually honoring all these folks. But everybody that's been inducted has been there since the beginning and done some incredible work in one way or another. Look, we had an auctioneer, we had a guy that handles our merchandise, but they're all from a volunteer standpoint, and it's nice to recognize those folks in public. Now, the most fun part of the weekend is always the cook-off. Don, you were a judge. Thanks for helping us out. How was the food?
Oh, one after another, just excellent. It never ceases to amaze me the trouble that those guys go through to really go beyond the next step and really put some excellent food out there. And for such a variety, there was alligator and shrimp and grits and a lot of crab meat dishes, all that real low-cal food.
I have no idea how y'all judge that. The folks, like Don said, everything is out there. We had about 15 teams from around the state competing, and like I said, every dish was out. We had Don, C.T. Williams was there, and then a handful of real chefs from the New Orleans area, and all of them were impressed. But
all very distinguished people and guests. You know, about 10 years ago, I was invited one time, and it was downtown in a tent to be a judge. I don't know, somebody must have show up, but I've never been invited to be a judge again. You know, I know I'm not, distinguished person, but I want to know. Don hit the nail on the head, and Joe said it one time too before. But when it was taking samples, I was eating the whole sample instead of just taking it. Maybe it's volume.
I will tell you, and he definitely knows, being a judge is not a fun position. I mean, it is great to be able to taste it, but after about half the meals come across your table, they were begging for mercy because so much of it is so rich. But my hat goes off to our folks over the Ascension cooking team, our friends from Ascension, L.J. Batto, Roy Robbins, George Huey, Kendall Matassa. There was a bunch of guys there. They did a great job. It was a trout cake Slider. And I'm going to tell you, it was fantastic. And
if those guys with Ascension don't give you the recipe, check with Greg Saunier, who was a restaurant owner, who was a chef, and he was also a judge, because he told me in some form or fashion it probably would end up on his menu at his restaurant.
You know it's a good sign. I am moderating the cooking event. When Greg sends one of my runners to get him a second plate, it's probably a good thing. And we actually had a handful of those. It was still a close contest.
It was.
So
very impressive.
A lot of fun. And right before the cook-off, we actually had a very interesting piece of the state convention. We got to dedicate a new reef that is under construction right now at the Williams Boulevard Fishing Pier. And construction should be done in the next week to 10 days from when this is airing. So you might have a little muddy water here for a couple days. But as soon as it hits, we are going to have a good limestone bottom around that fishing pier at Williams. And if anything, you know, if the one in Slidell and some of the ones across the state show anything, you're going to be catching fish there this summer.
They're starting to prove themselves. That's really good. We got one more thing I want to ask you, and then a lot of news items, and we're going to talk about it more too. But Garrett Graves is leaving, Coastal Conservation people, and Jerome Zarang. You know both of them well. Tell us what's your opinion.
Look, you know, Garrett has done more for the coast in the last, I think, 6 years that he's been here than anybody. He has truly moved the state forward and done some great things. You know, just putting together the master plan has been one incredible undertaking. We're sorry to see Garrett go, but I'll tell you, Jerome Zarang also is a great guy. We have worked with him for years. He's a big fisherman. I think his camp's down in Cocodrie or Dulac. He's one of us, and he thinks the way we do, but also a very smart guy, and we couldn't have asked for a better replacement. He's got big shoes to fill.
Like Garrett, businessman, his daddy's an engineer. He came up, he's so dynamic, and he traveled. Garrett, we're going to thank him again later on, but let me tell you what, Jerome was going to be fair, going to be off the same mold, I think, as Garrett. They're both knowledgeable and fair. That's the main thing.
The fun thing about Jerome, a lot like Larry Reynolds, who you saw earlier in the show, he's just going to tell you what he thinks, and he is going to surround himself with the best people around to make sure that the decisions are correct. So things are good. I think you'll see the coastal restoration movement moving forward, and hopefully not missing a beat.
I thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
And letting us be a partner with CCA. And
absolutely.
Well, we got the Star Rodeo coming. We'll be having you back to talk about that. Are they taking sign-ups already?
Absolutely.
How do you do it?
Go to our website, ccastar.com. Once again, early bird drawings will start March 1st for the 12 weeks leading up to Star. It's going to be a great 20th year. And also, go pick up crab traps this weekend. Check out Wildlife and Fisheries website or ccalouisiana.com for all the information down in Dularge.
All right, LACCA. We'll be right back. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
When you're ready to really enjoy life at a slower pace, become a landowner. First South Farm Credit specializes in financing and refinancing land, but not just for farmers. They offer loans to purchase timberland, hunting and fishing, or recreational property. Their experience in land, timber, and loans set them apart from standard lending institutions. Contact a First South Farm Credit loan officer for more information. First South Farm Credit, a specialized rural land investment lender helping you realize your dream.
Eric and Mike, it's that time of the year again for the Children's Hospital Bass Classic.
When I was asked to be the signature sponsor in this 12th season of the event for the Children's Charities Bass Tournament, I was proud to be there to help thousands of children in Louisiana.
I've been involved in this tournament for several years, and I can assure you it's the largest and the best organized tournament in the state. We've got a grand prize of $12,500. But the real winner of this tournament are the children themselves. Children's Hospital treats children throughout the state with clinics in Baton Rouge and Lafayette. And the wonderful thing is, no child is turned away regardless of their ability to pay.
Louisiana fishermen, come out and support the Children's Hospital Bass Classic March the 1st.
It doesn't get any better than this.
And welcome back to the news segment of Paradise, Louisiana. And Gary, a couple of big pieces of news came out this week. I guess what everybody's talking about, we've had yet another shooting of a pair of whooping cranes down in Jefferson Davis Parish. One female was killed. The male had a broken wing. It's been taken to LSU, try to rehabilitate it. But this is really senseless, and it's such a waste of a resource that we're trying to bring back from the brink of extinction. And every time this happens, it sets us back just a little bit further.
Hello, my name is Carrie Salyers. I'm a biologist and wildlife outreach coordinator for the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. I have an important message for the Louisiana citizens. Unfortunately, on February 6, 2014, in Jefferson Davis Parish, 2 of the whooping cranes that we are attempting to reintroduce back to Louisiana were tragically shot. This brings us up to a total of 5 animals out of the 50 that we are attempting to reintroduce back on the landscape, which is roughly 10%. I encourage you, if you have any information regarding these instances, to please contact Operation Game Thief. Thank you for the cooperation in helping us to reintroduce these magnificent animals back onto the Louisiana landscape as they once were.
But the other news you have right now is coming from the Gulf Council.
Right. Gulf Fisheries Management Council decided to put forth a resolution. It's not a done deal yet. But any amount of the quota of red snapper based on data that is in excess of the 9.12 million pound harvest quota, they want to give 75% of that excess to the recreational fishermen and 25% to the commercials. As right now, it's 51 commercial, 49 recreational. So if you're a recreational snapper fisherman and you like the idea of that, I don't see how you couldn't.
Now, we're talking about quotas. Sometimes it's for people simple like me, it gets complicated. But this is, whatever is 92,000 pounds or whatever it is, what is the quota?
Right.
It's whatever excess of that.
Right. Will be divided up 75-25.
And that's in their surveys. But you know what's been questioned is how do you do these surveys? A lot of times they ain't been done these surveys for years. There's also a push on them to have a more current surveys. Am I correct?
Exactly. And the state of Louisiana survey has been accepted now as being much more reliable. So that story, that saga is going to continue throughout this year. One more item before we get to the whooping crane interview. The bass, basically what was trophy and quality lakes designation, slot limits were put in on a lot of Louisiana lakes in order to let those fish move up into the trophy or quality size. Mike Wood, the fisheries biologist of Louisiana, kind of shocked a lot of people at the January commission meeting by saying it's not working. We're not taking enough fish out of there to make a difference to where those fish are progressing. He has recommended that the department go ahead and do away with those on 6 very popular lakes. So, and there's still time to comment on it between now and the middle of March. So if you'd like the idea of it, comment. If you don't like the idea
let me tell you some more good news. Mike, I saw him at the commission meeting, at the February meeting, and he said that, guess what? He said he would love to come on Paradise, Louisiana, and explain to you the scientific reasons and the practical reasons why he's doing it.
I think we need to do that.
Time to get covered, Louisiana. And Blue Cross has a plan in every parish, every zip code.
No matter where you are, you're covered through and through. We got a blue for you.
I'm covered.
From Lake Charles, North Round, Shangri-La.
Covered.
From Venice to Vidalia, back and forth to
I'm covered.
No matter where you are, you're covered through and through. We got a blue for you.
Call your Blue Cross agent or go to bcbsla.com and get covered too.
Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change has been keeping cars and trucks in Baton Rouge clean and running smooth for over 50 years. At Benny's, we feature professional car washing, complete detailing, high-tech waxing and buffing, interior cleaning, and tire shine. Benny's, one stop for car maintenance with complete oil and lube services and even state inspections at our express locations. Visit one of our 5 convenient locations, including our newest store on Greenwell Springs Road. And don't forget to stop by Be Quick Convenience Store and Fuel Stop. Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change. Drive in dirty, drive out clean.
And welcome to the Berkeley Abu Garcia Fishing Report. As you can see, Gary is starting off with some beautiful, whatever you want to call them, crappie, white perch, sac-a-lait. Where'd those come from, Gary?
They come from North Louisiana, just north of Mer Rouge, and they come out of a cypress slough. And there's a lot of fish are being caught up there, and it was cold. Kobe Daniels caught some on his lake, and they come from his lake, one of his lakes. It's on the property, and then they got some come off of the sloughs up there, and all of the horseshoe lakes, all the people that catch them coming off a pier, and we're using hair jigs or just a regular tube jigs, chartreuse and white, chartreuse and red and white, chartreuse and black are the best colors. There's a slather jigs or just a regular tube jig, chartreuse and black. And there it was through a little hole in the floor on a pier. It is unbelievable. Let me put these down. These things are heavy. I don't know if you want to do it, Don. I hope I did it right.
They are pretty fish. Well, bass fishing, I don't know how it was up there, but down here, the cold weather really slowed the bass fishing down because we've got such shallow water. Now, areas where you got those impoundments and those deeper channels and cuts, it's much easier to be able to locate some active bass. Any bass fishing?
Well, talking about bass fishing, we got the Bassmaster Classic coming up in a couple of weeks. And we got Gary Krause, and Cliff Crochet was fishing the Southern Open down in Amistad, and he didn't have but 5 weight fish the first day or second. The second day, he zilched. He went down. He just couldn't believe it. The cold weather is affecting him down there. You can go on their website and you see who's been winning these tournaments. It's just been a tough show. We had another Louisiana boy, Brent Bonadonna. At one time, I think it was second, third place for the days, but they didn't make the final 12, and that's on the professionals. And we do know we got some great big tournaments coming up. We got March 1st, we got the Children's Miracle coming up, and then also March 1st up in central part of the state, we got the Shriners Bass Tournament coming up. And we also have a bass tournament coming up on April 5th that we're going to both be involved in a good bit. And you've been involved with it for years because it was the Children's Miracle Network. Now it's the Trinity Outdoors. But some of the same sponsors, some of the same people really been working hard on it. Chef KD has been working on it. Even though Chef KD can't be there that day, poor thing has got a lot of work. KD has a lot to do with helping putting it on. So,
well, let's hope the weather turns and time for those tournaments to get some good action.
But the fishing, I'm telling you, it's turning loose. Up there we have guys catching fish in the Red River right now. I had a call in for a good friend, Hummer Humphreys, but he's following these tournaments right now, so I never could get some news. But as soon as I do, we got Mike Clark up there, and then all these people getting ready to fish. In between right now and turkey season. Now, we're going to still lose some of these guys up north because turkey season is getting ready to turn right on. You and I are going to be up in the North Country doing quail and squirrel and rabbit, so we got a lot of stuff coming in the outdoor field. So, but I'm ready to fish. Gary Krause said he is through right now with cold weather. He said, please leave him alone.
Well, you saw how the cold weather affected our trip in Delacroix, and everybody along the saltwater areas of the coast has been pretty much saying the same thing. You know, we're tired of this cold weather, and thank God for redfish because speckled trout during those cold temperatures. We've had water temperatures down in the low 40s, sometimes even in the high 30s, bouncing back up to 50 once in a while, and when that happens, the speckled trout turn on. But for the most part, it's pretty much been a redfish winter. I did get some good reports, though, over in southwest Louisiana. Big Lake and Calcasieu, some of those big speckled trout that they're known for catching early are starting to show up. Not a lot of them, not real consistent, but they're starting to show up there. Bayou du Large, again, that's been a pretty consistent area. As far as the eastern section, Pontchartrain, Lake Bourne, Lake Catherine, unless you go to the Chalmette Wall or in the deep waters of those cuts off the intercoastal, maybe the bypass canal, that's been pretty quiet over that area.
I talked to Will Dross. You know, he waited, Calcasieu. You know, he was waiting. He had his sweaters on. The water temperature was in the upper 40s. He said it's not ready yet. He's waiting on that sunlight. If that sunlight don't come, that's what's bad. Even when it was warm, it's been cloudy. You know, if that sun don't penetrate, you know, if it's cloudy, it definitely ain't gonna penetrate. So that's the deal. Let me tell you what. You know, I'm proud of this. You know, last week we gave the report. All my friends were there by the Oak River. Yep. You proved it out. You went over there, and there was about 40, 45 boats. And it's amazing the fish that are being caught in that river right now as redfish. And then what you told me, my buddies didn't catch but 2 specks, but like I said, it never warmed up at all. But Jack said it warmed up one day, and they caught
100 speckled trout. Offshore, not a lot going on, but we did get some calmer weather earlier this week, and we're waiting to get some reports in. So far, probably the highlight of this winter for offshore fishing has been wahoo. There's not only been numbers of wahoo, and when they find them, they're getting multiple hookups at the same time, but some big ones in excess over 100 pounds. So hopefully the tuna will fall in place and that lump will turn on, and we'll have some good early spring offshore fishing too.
I'm reading your paper. Delacroix Eskimos run.
Delacroix. Jack Payne said, "I'm tired of being an Eskimo." He's ready.
Gary Krause is tired of cold weather. I bet you done drank 64 gallons of coffee in a weekend. And community coffee, y'all just gonna love him to death. American Woodcock Banquet is coming up right in West Baton Rouge. That was on the 28th, so y'all get ready. Get ready. They're gonna have a dedication coming up too on that same day at Sherman. John Borton, there's a big donation being made in more duck hunting country. And what I learned from being in North Louisiana, you won't believe the property that the wildlife and fisheries are acquiring, public use property. And those state parks are beautiful. Those cabins are nice, and they're not outrageous too. You know, and they got different rates. They got different rates for summer, and right now they're not open, but they'll open in March. It's beautiful. They got 2-bedroom apartments, and they're so compact and beautiful on the lakes.
I've been using state parks for years. In fact, a lot of the state parks have conference capabilities for your business to come there. But I'll give you a tip on state park. Make your reservations early.
Oh,
they start taking in January. You got to get them done for the whole year. Plan it out well ahead of time, and you'll be doing it.
Go on the website and see. They got all the regulations, all the state parks around. I got a brochure that I brought back with me, and it's just unbelievable. In fact, I saw one of those camps. When I do build my camp, and for my kids, I'm going to make about 3 of them, just like that, one compound. By the way, just go out with some goodwill. Gary Graves, thank you so much for being on the show and what you've done. Anytime we can help you in your new endeavors, enjoy your family, enjoy your kids. And I know you talked about that when he was here. We just had more time. You did a tremendous job. And Jerome, good luck, man. I might invite him to spring lunch and give him a promising bean.
I need to get him on the show. He's got a big job ahead, a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Thanks for being with us. Don't forget, send your pictures and your reports in to Gary at Paradise, Louisiana, and we'll see him right here next week on Paradise, Louisiana.
Paradise, Louisiana, with Gary Risponi and Don Dubuque. Paradise, Louisiana would also like to thank these sponsors:
Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change, Cracker Barrel Convenience Stores. We have more than you expect. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana, Farm Bureau Insurance, Louisiana Fish Fry Product, Demco, First South Farm Credit, Area Wholesale Tire Company, for tire programs for tire dealers.